just like the emails, it can be quite insincere at times.
Mm,
But I couldn't get enough. As much as I get done remote, I could not get as much done in an office space.
mm,
Um, and then, in the office space, there's also a lot of liabilities in terms of, like regulations.
mm,
I think things that I tend to want to avoid in the workplace if I were to have my own office space, whether it be as a leader or a subordinate, right, for lack of better words. Um, I think one of the worst things you can do is have a dress code.
mhm,
Um, Having a workplace in which you have people who require to dress a certain way, or in a way they wouldn't otherwise, would tend to lower the productivity. I know it's done, out of a concern for status or distraction, but having to tuck your shirt in every
mm,
now and then breaks
mm,
away from, your overall concentration, and it's not something you would do naturally. So there tends to be a liability factor that I'm not always sure is realized by all employers. Is that it's a liability. Then, standing up to from your chair to tuck your shirt in, just as an example,
mm.
that doesn't cost, the 10 seconds or so that it takes. It costs the amount of time it takes to recuperate your concentration and
Wow,
momentum
true.
on your task. And you obviously stood up because it was bothering you anyways.
Mm,
So that in itself is a huge liability. And then putting people on a time schedule, right, that
yeah.
they wouldn't normally hold themselves to is a very unnatural way to live, I
Mm,
guess.
mm,
So I think the top concern of being in a workplace is you're asking people who you're purchasing labor from them.
mm,
It's a two-way transaction. I wish more people kind of realize this, is that when you're an employee, you're selling your
mm.
labor in exchange for finances from your, your company, your customer in that case, your
Yeah.
client. And then, vice versa. Your workplace is, purchasing labor and they're providing you with finances, and they're purchasing a product from you, which is labor and whatever your focus tends to be,
Mm,
results, right?
yeah.
um so I think there's some pretty messed up fundamentals in terms of physical workspaces, but I think if we were to combine the flexibility
Mm,
and lesser pressure workplaces such as remote work, but
mm,
bringing that into an optional
yeah.
or partially mandatory in-person workspace. I think that'd be a great um, solution to people who don't necessarily enjoy working from home or remotely.